I've been developing games for about 5 years and it has been a quite unusual journey. I made games that are so different from one another, and my finished games you can play on itch.io are only the ones that survived the development hell. This is the story of how all of this happened. In 2021, I thought to myself, maybe I want to start learning programming. And so I did. I started to learn some web development languages, but I soon started to notice that actually I wanted to make games. So I did. Well, it wasn't that easy. First I discovered Construct, a website where you can easily build games without doing actual coding. And I thought, game dev is not as difficult as I thought. But then I found out that this site has a subscription and it was way too expensive. So I had to find a different tool to develop, and I remember watching Goodbiz. And he talked about an engine called Godot. You probably think everyone knows Godot, but back then it wasn't that well known and it wasn't fully fleshed out like today with Godot 4. Back to my story. After downloading Godot 3, I started to develop some 2D games, and this one project I finished was Light Soul. It's a puzzle game that you should not play because it's so clunky. But it was my first finished project. After that, I participated in a game jam for the first time. And the result was Space Explorer. You shouldn't play this either. And about here, the development hell of unfinished projects opened. I can show some of them, but there were all these big ideas that I never could have finished. For example, Foxworld should have been an open world survival game where you can build a base, or Another Stop where you can operate a massive train. Lost in the Neighborhood was my first finished horror game. And in this game you have to find a way home in a dark city by figuring out puzzles, while a tall figure is stalking you. And well, as you know, itch.io is very popular for horror games. That's why this game became one of my more popular ones. This game has flaws, and it's short, but its quality was definitely better than the previous ones. And this really motivated me to make more horror games. The atmosphere is the most interesting and important part of a horror game for me. For this reason, my next few horror games often concentrated on this aspect. For example, I tried to make a very desolate and mysterious ambience in my short game, Someone. Then there was Endlesscapes. I started to work on this project in 2023. The main idea was to have a space exploration game with a PS1 style that encapsulates the feeling you had in the launch version of No Man's Sky. The first version of Endlesscapes was very bare bones, but over the years I made multiple updates, finishing with the 4.0 version in 2025. That last version was also my first commercial release of a game. The previous versions were all free. Endlesscapes was really my passion project. It didn't get much recognition, but I still wanted to develop it further because I just wanted to have this special feeling of exploration that I didn't really find in other space games. Now we come to the current day. In the second half of 2025 and first half of 2026, I didn't really have time for game development because I had to focus on school. But now I finally have time again, and the first thing I did was join a game jam. So I developed a speedrun ball roller game called Serious Spinning Salaryman for the very serious Juniper Dev game jam. Right now I'm learning to develop games with only C++ and Raylib. So I cannot use a game engine like Godot, and it's much more difficult to do simple things. But this is important for me to learn more about programming. This does not mean that I will stop using Godot in the future. It's a very good and useful engine. Yeah, so that's kind of the story of my 5-year-long journey in a very short summary. If you found this interesting or even inspiring, I would be happy if you would like and subscribe. Thank you and see you soon.